Hi, welcome to the second episode of the PC Modding and Making podcast. I'm joined today by a super special guest, Devin Waddell, who you might know as TekRedMods. I myself am Derek. I'm the creative behind Rhoads Pc, and I've been PC modding since 2018. And I'm excited to talk to Devin today because he's been at it a lot longer, and I've been following his builds ever since I first started PC building and getting into the social media side of things. I noticed his builds back in 2017. He had a project called Project Allure that was quite alluring. Anyways, how's it going, Devin?
What's up, Derek? How you doing?
Good, man. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, man, no problem. Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah. So the premise of the podcast is kind of to hop on here and talk, hang out, but teach others who might not know the hobby so well.
Right.
So, like, I think a solid question to ask people is, what does PC modding mean to you? Because I know for me, well, we're all like super creative, or it seems like we're super creative. So it's nice to have that medium and somewhere to direct the things we want to do. And I find PC modding as a way for me to, if I wanted to get better at 3D printing, I can use PC modding as a medium for that to, make a cool computer and have somebody wanting a computer built get
Right.
something a little above and beyond what they expect.
Oh,
What is,
definitely.
what is it for you?
For me, I got at, let me see. When did I start PC modding? It was before social media. Before like I even knew like PC modding was a thing. For me, it was to make something original, that something nobody
Yeah,
else has, Like for
yeah.
me, it was just about standing out. Like I didn't want to like something everybody else has. And so like that's basically it for me. And I still to this day don't call myself a modder. I just build PCs and cool PCs. Like that's I mean, I still don't really whole understand the whole PC modding scene per se. I just think it's cool
It's
to do something original, and creative like you were saying.
Yeah, I like that. I've actually talked to a couple people who have had a hard time with the title of PC modder.
Right.
Like I don't mind the title maker or creative, because then you're
Right.
just kind of I'm in the business of making stuff or creating stuff. But being original is cool. Did were you a skateboarder?
Yeah.
I think you were. Yeah, yeah. I've noticed that style in a lot of your builds,
I mean,
and it
like
kind of sounds
yeah, I skated from 4 until like I joined the Marine Corps when I was 18. So, and then I still
wow.
continue to skate. I still skate. I still have a board, but yeah, my body just can't handle it like it used
Oh,
to.
yeah. I thought about getting into it when I was a kid, and the guy that went to show me, he went to take off and he immediately broke his ankle. So I got a little scared off of it.
Man, I broke so many bones, but
Really?
yeah.
Oh,
So, how you been, Derek? Man, it's been a while. Like
good. Yeah.
I know I took a break there for a while, like life happened and so,
Well, that's okay. That's bound to happen, especially with something like this hobby. It's super time consuming.
yep.
But I've been good. It's actually been like a really crazy year, dude. I have been busy with builds. I was able to do a really cool project with Asus where we built this. So his name's Omni, but he's a character from the like ROG Saga,
Right.
and it was like a 4 foot tall mouse robot. Is kind of what it ended up being, and I got to go to Fremont, California, to their headquarters, put it together, make these YouTube videos, and then they had the build at PAX, which is like, dude, we've been talking for years. I never expected a build like that to come along. It was awesome.
Right. And like be able to
So,
work with like company like Asus and did they
oh, it was
fly you out to
wild.
California?
I was taken care of. Yeah, everything was
That's
covered.
awesome. And like,
It was really
it's
cool.
I know for me, uh, you're probably the same way, but like I saw you when you first, started, and like if you just look back at your very first build to like now, like it's
Yeah,
crazy,
yeah.
right? It's like no
we,
comparison.
I think that, how do you put it? We're gifted in pretty strong progression.
If you don't
We,
progress though, what are you doing?
yeah, like we didn't stay stagnant, and I like that. I always, when you do a build, you try and hang on to the thing that you liked about that build and then do it again,
right?
plus all the other stuff on the next one.
You're probably the same way I am, but like every single build, I say the same thing. Oh, this is probably my favorite build. Oh, this is like my best build. And like I say that every single build, I swear.
Man, I remember you saying that for your Halo Project Infinite.
I still love that build though.
That's
I hope
awesome build.
I hope whoever got it is enjoying it as much as I did.
Yeah, so you did. So that was a Halo themed Project Infinite. That was a build in the Torque
And take torque, yeah.
and Tech Torque. Where did that go? What ended up happening
Uh,
with that build?
someone actually reached out, wanted to buy it, so
Oh,
it was
okay.
just sitting here collecting dust. It was like basically just used as an art piece, and I started running
Yeah,
out of room, so I let it go.
yeah, man. Computers are hard to just build up, especially when like they're so cool looking, but also you got to kind of be mindful of the hardware and
Right,
making sure it's still current when you want to do a new project.
because it's gonna
You know?
like all hard like if it just sits there for 5 years, then like the hardware is just gonna be obsolete, and like
Yeah,
it's a waste,
the
you know?
case will look cool, but no one's really enjoying it.
All right. It was definitely a fun
So,
project.
so do you mind if I ask where you're located?
I am located in Fukushima, Japan.
Japan. Yeah. So I
Yep.
knew that. I'm just making sure our
Right.
audio
Right.
listeners catch on. So what's the modding scene like in Japan?
There's no modding scene really in Japan. Um,
Just tech
there.
red mods.
I mean, I I've seen a few, or I don't mean I've seen a few, but like I know a few people that are closer to Tokyo area that do mods. Um, and like I actually met them at Tokyo Game Show. We all hung out and stuff, and it was pretty cool. But like I don't know, like DIY PC scene in general, not just modding, but like building your own PC is not as big in Japan as it is in like America or Canada or anywhere else.
That's interesting
Right.
because you kind of get the sense that they're, in Japan, China, and Asia, they're a bit ahead of us in
You
technology.
would think that, right? But
Yeah.
like I swear if you drive down Japan, you would think you're like you took a time machine back to like 60s or 50s. Like,
What? That's
well,
so backwards.
Tokyo and stuff like a little different, but yeah,
Yeah.
I mean
Dude, I
everybody
picture
thinks
Japan and I picture cyberpunk.
or that you would think so, right? But like no,
Yeah.
no.
Wild.
But yeah, like where I'm at, I am the only one. So,
Well, that's cool, dude. Got to keep it alive. So I mentioned noticing your social media stuff in 2017 when you were working on Project Allure. So that was in the Inwin Yong, right?
right.
And it went on tour. That's pretty cool. But I have written here you were also part of like a flood relief kind of committee, was it? And you got computers back to, kids who had lost computers.
Well, it's our like literally built my house a month and a half after I built my house, the area was flooded.
No.
And yeah, there was a lot of people that wasn't as fortunate as me that actually moved all their stuff to the second floor because I had a lot of stuff. I had a lot of PCs and a lot of, at the time, I had just a ton of stuff. So I moved everything up to the second floor just in case. But there was a lot of people that was not as fortunate and lost pretty much everything. And so, I was just going trying to build like a PC or two for a couple of families I knew. So I reached out, and a lot of companies, um, hopped on board and sent me enough parts to build 10 PCs. So I was able to, I
Wow.
mean, they were like, just simple builds, like no GPUs, integrated graphics and stuff, but, it was a Ryzen 3 2200G, I think. They sent me 10 of those. And so I was able to just build, you know, basic computers to get back to like people that lost pretty much everything. So,
That's cool, dude. Good job heading that up. And that's really nice to hear like, these PC companies are backed and run by people and
right.
there's compassion there and they care when something like that happens. I like
So,
that. I've actually found in the PC brands and modders like yourself or if you just dig past the, you know, the if you get past the front page, we're all just people.
Right.
Pretty pretty normal. But that's cool that you helped them out. I'm sure it went a long way for those guys during that.
Yeah,
Um,
there was a lot of excited people. I tell you. I mean,
oh, I bet.
um, there's one kid that like he still games on it. Like it's integrated graphics, but like I talk to him often and he's playing Fortnite on it. Like he's, doing
Really?
his schoolwork, playing Fortnite on it. He's just, it helped him out so much. Like they and like the PC they had already before the flood was
Yeah.
ancient. It was already like it had like a Core Duo or something in it. It was
Oh wow.
so even just the Ryzen 3 2200G was like a huge upgrade for them. So
Well, that's sweet. And when something like that hits too, like gaming aside, man, being able to send out emails to people, things like
oh
that
yeah, yeah, for sure.
helps. Or if you work from home or whatever.
Yeah, I work from home, so definitely couldn't live without a PC.
Yeah. I was actually down a computer for the last. I bet you I haven't had my own computer for 7 months or so. I did my
That's
Mandalore.
funny.
Dude, I know. So I have a laptop and like just a Asus Tough laptop with like a 1650 in it, and I've been using that for like printing and my CNC, and but the battery's dead in it, and the trackpad died, so I have to plug it in and use a mouse everywhere I go. And it was getting
Wow.
a bit hectic, so I wanted to jump into this podcast. I thought I should probably build my own computer because I haven't sat down and gamed in a while, so everything I've wanted to do has been okay from the laptop,
Right,
but I got caught up with doing builds for people, and when the GPUs were running out, I kept selling my own,
right.
you know, and then I just never got back on with my own. Speaking back of computer builds, do you mind sharing what you're working on now?
I can only share so much because of NDAs. But
Yeah,
ASRock reached out and asked me to do a build for release of a new hardware. Like I can't really go in specifics, but as
I
you
see the
can
case
kind
there.
of as you can kind of tell, the theme is graffiti. That's
Man,
about as
that's
much as I
awesome.
can share, but a lot of uh, cable got unplugged, but a lot of
That's
things
okay.
that I've never tried before or never did. So it was really fun project. And honestly, I was kind of disappointed that they sent me this case because originally I was like I already had this design in my head for the Cougar Blazer, the one that you did your
Oh yeah,
Wolverine build in. Like I had
yeah, I
this
love that case too.
complete design thought of in my head, but then they were like, uh, Cougar was like, Japan, there's no stock for that case. Would you mind building in this case? And they were talking about the Cougar Conquer 2, which I did a Cougar Conquer build, the Modern
Yeah.
Warfare build I did. But it's a completely different build. It's like not an upgrade. I don't even know why they call it the Cougar Conquer 2 because it's a completely different case.
That case looks like a lot to handle.
Yeah, oh yeah. It's a lot of screws, a lot of, well, not really so much, a lot of rivets, but it was, if you look on the website, they call it the modder's dream come true,
Oh.
and it's not really. It's
Well, you
not
made it
really,
look
but
sweet.
like so the one thing, as you can see, I will kind of talk about it a little bit because like uh originally, this whole piece kind of went all the way to the back and you couldn't see the interior. And like,
Oh,
because
okay.
this build is supposed to showcase the release of some new hardware, I wanted to be able to see into the case without obstructing it with this big plastic piece. The orange piece originally. Um,
Yeah.
and because it's graffiti themed, I thought it would be cool to kind of try to make the case look and feel like concrete with like graffiti on it.
Yeah.
And so it was a little bit challenging. I never did anything like it, but before I even like started painting the case, I got some Bondo and like kind of just went over the case.
Oh.
And in some areas like just do a little light build up
Yeah.
and then I sprayed it with a textured, like a stone paint over that. And and then there's actually for the base coat, there's like five different colors. Like there's some ivory in there, some
Oh,
light gray,
really?
dark gray, the stone paint, and black.
Dude,
And
I love it. I was
it,
wondering how you got that texture.
and then a lot of the like there's actually like a lot of the texture is from like the black. The way I did the like the I don't even know what you would call it. But it was just
Was it like a
basically water.
car?
It was watered down. Like I took a sponge, like a kitchen sponge, watered it down, and like added some black to it. Like, and it was like not spray paint or anything. It was just this kind of like too black.
Yeah,
And then I went over like the case, and then I took a like a tissue or a napkin, and kind of like dabbed it in some
yeah.
areas because it was wet. It was like not all of it stuck to the case, but it kind of gave it that texture that it needed, I think. And there was some 3D printed parts for it as well. But I molded those in with the Bondo and stuff to make it look all one piece.
Dude, I love that paint texture. And
I
like going
just
about it like that, you did a lot of like that's model stuff. Like
right,
kind of thinking, how to add texture with acrylic paint. Well, add water to thin it down or rough it up before it dries with the napkin.
right. But
That's
like
sweet, dude.
the Bondo, man, like I just wish you could see and feel this case in person because like this video just doesn't do it justice.
Well, does it have a destination?
Tokyo.
Oh, well, I'll have to go to Tokyo then.
Tokyo.
That would be
It'll
fun.
be in Tokyo by the end of next month. So like the deadline was really
Yeah, that's
short
pretty soon.
on this build. And
Yeah.
like I'm still waiting on parts from other sponsors as well. But luckily for this case, I was able to mod the case and it has a subframe. As you can tell, like the motherboard, like there's nothing inside it because like
Right.
this is technically the exoskeleton, and then there's a subframe that you actually build the PC and just slide it in, which is a little convenient, I guess you could
Yeah,
say.
that's
But
cool. So for the guys listening on audio, it's like if you took the drawer out of the dresser, modded the
right,
dresser, and then you put the drawer back in once the parts are in.
exactly. And
That-
like the hardware for it looks like that too. Like it's got like the rollers that you would see in the
Oh,
kitchen, like the kitchen drawers and stuff, like the
yeah,
little rollers. It looks just like
yeah.
that. It's
Oh,
pretty
really?
funny. Yeah. Like
That's sweet.
there's actually rails inside that it like fits into and rolls.
We should build our own. Put it in the kitchen.
Right? Or get this, like have your desk with a built-in removable like drawer PC.
Yeah, and just mod the outside and just swap out the parts when they get old.
Like how like the people that build all these desk PCs, but like you have to like take everything off the PC, like lift the glass. No, man, just like have it on rollers, like just slide it out, work on the PC and roll it back in.
Yeah,
It's
some
some
of those desks look tough.
right. I would never tackle that.
I'm not. Maybe when I'm older and I'm like can call myself a woodworker, it might be a fun project, but I'm nowhere near there.
But it's funny because I am a woodworker. I've been a carpenter in Japan for 9 years.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Like I actually
Dude, by
build
the way,
houses.
the Japanese handsaw is like my favorite tool I own.
Oh
You
yeah,
told me about that. I bought
the
two different sizes.
it's called the tenoko in
Uh,
Japanese. So if you ever,
Tenoko.
yeah, dude, like
Cool,
they
cool. Yeah,
are
I love
amazing,
that thing.
right? Like
So
the American hand saws suck, man.
yeah,
Like the
they're way
big
different.
triangle looking ones.
Yeah, for people listening, dude, grab yourself a Japanese handsaw for anything. They're so good at flush cutting, and for me, I found they're like the secret weapon when it comes to like if you do something on the CNC and you leave tabs in place, they're the
Hmm.
perfect size and like flexibility to just cut the tabs nice and clean. You don't even need to sand after. They're the
They
bomb.
they are amazing. Like I have probably like six or seven different
Oh, really?
sizes. They got different size blades. Like for fine cutting, they got like the density of the tooth. Like they have more teeth for like the fine cuts, and then like
Right.
for your rough cuts, they have like lesser teeth that are spread out more, and they have a bunch of different ones, but they're called the noko kiri or tenoko.
Tenoko.
And then like
That's cool.
circular saw, right? Circular saw is called a marunoko. Maru is
Oh,
circle,
oh,
so
okay.
marunoko,
Madanoko.
marunoko. Yeah.
Cool. So you mentioned you're a carpenter. Do you find being a carpenter, lends itself to your mods?
No, I haven't done a
No.
single. Like it's convenient because I have tools, right? But
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
like like who doesn't? What carpenter in Japan doesn't have you know a nice impact? But no, I haven't. I've been wanting to tell you the truth. Like I want to build my own case, like out of wood, like kind of like a Japanese theme. But I've seen a few of them done really well, and so I'm just like, yeah, whatever. Like nothing I can do to be original with it. I mean,
Yeah.
the
Well,
design hasn't really come to me yet, so
and if your, style in itself is to be original, and sticking to that makes sense, right?
right.
Sometimes you're given a theme and it just doesn't, or a theme or an idea, and if it just doesn't jive,
I mean, have
you,
you ever seen a concrete PC before? Like
no, dude, and I love it.
that was this is I'm so like proud of this thing because like the
You know what's
texture
funny?
came out perfect.
So our audio listeners can't see, but if you're listening, the video of this podcast is up on Rhoads Pc on YouTube. Just type in Rhoads Pc and it'll pop up. The only time I can say I've seen something similar to that was another build you did. Was the one, remember the one, I forget the name of it now. I could pull up Instagram, but you had a build with like 6 of those hexagon reservoirs inside. And I feel like you
Mm.
talked about like it was a bits power, those little bits
Oh
power
yeah, yeah, yeah.
reservoirs. I feel like you either painted it gray or you talked about painting it gray, but it wasn't an actual concrete texture like that.
Right.
It's pretty cool. Do you think with that build there, would you say getting the texture the way you wanted was the bigger challenge of the mod, or was there any other challenges?
No, the texture, like the base
Yeah.
coat, like the concrete was actually the easiest. I had it done in like a day, basically. The biggest challenge because of the texture and like, regular graffiti, they don't use stencils, it's usually
No.
big pieces and, they're doing spray paint with like different tips. And it would like I don't have an airbrush right now because like mine broke and I just haven't picked up another one.
Oh, really?
So a lot of the graffiti, I just use layers and layers and layers of stencils like to kind of get the effect. And because of the texture, the stencils would not want to stick, and that was the biggest challenge.
So that's you actually did graffiti for those graphics on the side,
Well, this one was
like
freehand.
spray cans.
This one was freehand, so it says you can't really see it right now, but it's just this style. Uh,
Cool.
and I did that one with just some acrylic paint markers,
Okay, cool.
and this one I did with some acrylic paint markers, and the rest of them was stencils. And then you can't really see this one, but I kind of like wanted it to look peeled away, kind of like it was old. But there was some challenges, but I was able to get it done.
Yeah, that build's looking awesome. Once it's done and lit up, it's gonna look so dope.
I can't wait. Like I don't know if you can see the front here, but there's actually a rebar going down the middle, and
Oh, you can't see it that well on the camera, but
like all
that's
the
pretty cool.
rebar, like, cause like I even went to like Thingiverse, GrabCAD, like everywhere to try to find like a 3D file of rebar. Couldn't find it
Yeah.
anywhere. So, you
Really? You
know,
you think that'd be out there?
right? But like even like a 3D model of that, I could import and like convert to an STO file, but I couldn't find anything, so I had to design
Hmm.
all the rebar myself
Hmm.
with Fusion 360. And it came out perfect. And
Yeah,
because like my printer's not that big, I had to like splice a few pieces,
yeah.
but it still turned out pretty good. You can't even see where it's spliced. And then like
Nice,
one little
dude.
secret about this, like this piece is actually functional. So you like pull it out and it's actually a ballpoint pen.
That's awesome. So for the audio guys, he just pulled a piece of rebar out of the side of the computer, and it's a pen.
I mean,
That'll come in handy.
graffiti artists, right? They like to draw, so I just thought
Yeah,
instead of having that piece glued in, why not make it functional?
you're supposed to be sketching. Always be sketching.
And it's actually like you load it in the bag, so it's like two pieces. But then I like did like
Oh,
a
nice.
tongue and groove, so it would like match up and
Oh,
like
so we found somewhere that being a carpenter comes in handy.
yeah, but like that was all 3D design. I mean, I'm not gonna. I kind of put like a couple drops of glue, but like it's spliced somewhere right in here for to be able to load the ink in. You can't see it anywhere. Like I can't
Right. No,
like I'm even looking at it and I can't see it,
no, it looks solid to me.
but I thought that was like a a fun little Easter egg to throw in there
Yeah, those are the best.
because
Easter eggs are my
it
favorite.
just looks like a piece of rebar, but you can pull it
Yeah,
out and draw with it. And like if I'm sitting here at the computer and you ever need like a pen, oh, where's a pen? Like it's there. So
yeah. And you know what's funny? Like, it's those parts of projects that stand out to people. Like whoever wherever that computer ends up, if someone's owning it,
oh, I'm
that'll
gonna own
might
it.
be their favorite. Well, for you yourself, as your days go on, that might be your favorite part. It's just knowing you put so much thought into such a small piece, but it worked
Right.
out.
Like, that is like one of my favorite parts because like it literally took me about 6 hours to design for a pin, right? Like, and
Yeah, but man,
I had the piece of rebar that I was gonna glue in there, but I was like, wait a minute, like this is about
yeah,
pen size. Let me make this
yeah, but
into a
dude, it's
pin.
details matter.
It does, and it's just like
Details
your
matter.
Omni build, man. Like that thing was ridiculous.
Oh,
Like
thanks.
you blew my mind with that. Like, because I took a break. I haven't really been getting on social media that often. And then like I get on and boom, Derek posts this. I'm like, what the like I don't want to like curse about like what the hell is that? Like that is
Yeah,
not a Derek build. That is not a Rhoads
yeah.
PC. Like what is that?
Well, thanks, dude. I'm glad I practiced nonstop while you were away.
I haven't you've done like I'm a case smarter. Like I haven't done um a scratch build. Like I kind of wanted to get into it, but I've never actually tried to attempt it. And that was
Well, it's appealing. It's appealing because it's complete freedom. But Omni was actually only my second ever scratch build.
right.
I did one kind of earlier this year, so it's kind of neat. I got approached by a dude in the UK. Uh, Disclaimer: I can't verify any of this, but he says he works with Intel and was going to get one of the new Intel graphics cards when they release.
Hmm.
So he wanted like a PC done up in a Fallout Wastelands kind of theme. That when the Intel graphics cards come out, it would be kind of like on display at the front of the case.
Right.
So I couldn't really find a case to do that, and I had just bought my CNC.
Well, they
So I
got the
thought this
Antec. What is it? The Antec case that actually mounts the graphics card in the front, but
the
Striker.
Striker, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, that's a cool case.
but it's
But
small.
I was kind of itching to try the CNC, so I did. It was really just a square box, and I put kind of a model diorama scene on top, and that was fun to do. And then that's in the UK now, waiting for an update with the new graphics card when it comes out. But for Omni, like you say, like when you're working with sponsorships or clients, like when I got an email from Asus asking, "Hey, do you think you could do something around the character, that they showed me?" It was kind of like, yeah, I'll learn how, man, because
You're not gonna like say no to aces, right?
no, definitely not. It's one of those things where it's like, oh, this could be a really good opportunity. So then that character had like no reference material, dude. Like you go on their website, I could find two pictures, and I got talking to one of their reps on Facebook, and he sent me one other picture to go off of. It was so scarce. So I actually broke him into three pieces, like the head, the body with the gun, and the legs, because in every picture he has a different head and a different gun. Some pictures Omni had like a screen for a face,
Right.
which you kind of think of, well, maybe it would be fun if I could do an actual monitor. Uh, Sounds too hard. I'm going to do the other head. That's what I kind of deducted with that part. And then when I got to the body, I thought, well, a graphics card would kind of maybe fit as the gun. It's kind of going to be the whole
Right.
gun. And then I started sketching, and I was like, well, I'll put it in the gun. And then it kind of, so then you get to 3D Fusion, or Fusion 360 as well. And I did the really rough sketch with just the 330 millimeter dimension in the gun.
Right.
And it was like, holy geez, this thing's going to be as big as me, dude. It was crazy.
That
So
it
I
turned out good.
actually, thank you. Thank you. It was a lot of work. It was one of those. So we were talking the other day, and it was one of those projects that you love in the planning phase, and then you're really excited to get started.
Then
And
you're
then
kicking
about
yourself in the ass.
a week in, you're looking at it going, I don't think I'm going to get done. Like, this
Like,
is so much work.
why did I decide to do this?
Yeah. Why did I choose to do this in such a way that is, so time consuming, so difficult? So with that print, you were telling me about, a way to kind of knock down the layer lines
Right.
with the clear coat, but I was trying the method of mixing acetone with Bondo
Yeah, that
and
really
spraying
doesn't
it through an airbrush.
work with PLA, which you probably use PLA.
Mostly PLA, yeah, and it worked. It was okay. I definitely, if I got another chance to do a model that big, I would want to find a better way to smooth out the layer lines.
I'm telling you, man, clear coat. Like a lot
Yeah,
of like I don't think there's a lot of people that really know the trick. But you spray like about three coats of like the self-leveling two-part polyurethane clear, and it's pretty thick. It fills in like most all the if you're doing like a point two layer line, it fills in
yeah,
most all the layer lines.
yeah. I'll do that next time, because man, I sanded for. I bet you I was
Like
almost late because I was a good week trying to sand everything.
like I was showing you this PC, right? Like it's pretty
Yeah,
smooth.
so
Like
that's
all these
Project Killstreak, right?
right. Like all these parts, like absolutely zero. Well, I didn't do that one. Like I didn't clear coat that one, but you can still see some little layer lines. But like there was no sanding whatsoever done to that.
Wow. So he's just showing us some 3D parts, 3D printed parts that he finished by spraying uh, a clear coat on, and that did it fill in the lines, or did it melt the PLA to kind of make it smooth?
No, it filled in the lines,
Filled it
basically.
in. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
So like basically just spray the clear coat as your base coat,
And
and
just leave it
then
alone.
do your base, then do your well, then do your primary color, which
Right.
would be called the base coat. So I guess you could call the clear coat as your primer coat, and then do your base coat, and then I actually did another layer of clear coat, but then I did a matte finish on like for the last clear coat
Oh,
instead.
okay, cool. That
So
would have come in
I,
handy. Yeah.
you can use gloss or matte. It doesn't really matter, but as long as it's the two part, like the polyurethane, like the stuff they spray with automobiles, like the top coat.
Right. Oh, dude, I'm gonna try that for sure. My next thing I'm doing is I've been working on this castle, kind of based on the game Elden Ring. Actually, 100% based on the game Elden Ring.
I've been seeing you
And
do the foam stuff for that. Yeah.
yeah, so that was another project where I was like, I love this idea. I seen a YouTube video on the channel Nerd Forge where
Hmm.
they made a castle in such a way. I was like, sounds great. And then I started doing it myself, and man, I glued like 3,500 bricks to this thing, like one at a time. It's been ridiculous. But
Wow.
so that one's got not so much 3D printing, but my next projects, May, and I'll try the clear coat trick for those ones.
There was
I'll send
another
you a picture of the castle.
another trick for like these parts that I 3D printed on this piece. I actually 3D printed. It was smooth. I think I saw seen you the pictures, but it was just like the basic shape, but it was like super smooth. And what I did
Yeah.
was just I got a just a micro torch, right? Like just like the little like lighter torch, and
Okay.
just melted it. And like if you do it just slightly, what I was noticing, because I wanted to deform it, kind of make it look like concrete, but
Yeah.
as I was kind of heating it up, it was actually melting the layer lines together.
Hmm.
So maybe either take a like a small torch or a heat gun maybe, and like heat up where the layer lines are, like that's really bad. Maybe
Yeah.
try that before to do the clear coat. I don't know. Might be something to think about. But like
That'd
there's
be something to try.
obviously there's no layer lines in these 3D printed parts, but
No, your builds never seem to have any. You
I
got
don't
that
do
locked in.
I don't do hardly any sanding either. Like
Yeah. See, yeah, and I'm sanding all the time. So
I
my
hate
builds are looking
sanding.
better, but the workflow could definitely improve. I'm beating myself up over here.
Right. I can't
It's
wait to
funny.
get this one back though from Tokyo and put in my, as you can see, like my room, it's kind of set, it's like it's made for this PC because like I got the concrete walls.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's
it
like
is.
gonna be so much better at my setup. Like, but this PC, I mean, is Project Killstreak is still
Yeah,
one of my favorites. Like, I love this PC.
that's an awesome build, man. That when that came out, it was the most thorough mod I think that had been done on the Conquer.
I think so.
Like you dealt with that thing head to toe. Like there
Yeah.
wasn't a spot that you left stock for sure.
The feet. I left the
Ah,
feet
the
stock.
feet. Well, what are you supposed to do to case feet anyway?
I didn't leave, like, I painted this case feet. It's
Yeah,
kind
that's
of
true.
a
And that
candy purple.
well, it looks good. Looks like kind of a Porsche purple.
See if I can turn up the light and I don't know, you can
I can
kind of see
tell.
it. It's the
Yeah.
same purple as here. Oh, I got a
Oh,
piece for the back. There we go.
there you go. Yeah, that looks a lot like one of the. I think Porsche has a color really close to that.
And then I love this color.
Oh, that's awesome.
It was just see-through, but like I actually painted a piece of acrylic white, like glued to the back, and then like painted over that blue to kind of like make it look like it's part of it instead of added on later.
Yeah, that's smart, dude. That's another small detail that'll make a big difference,
Right.
right?
It's all about the small details, I think.
So PC modding. So yeah, you're a really good example to talk to on here of somebody who you really understand the art side of it. Like on a painting, you don't leave a corner blank. You
Right.
kind of do the whole thing. And your projects are similar to that, dude. It's awesome.
I appreciate it. I owned a paint and body shop when I was in the States for a while, so
Oh, really?
like painting, and I used to do a little bit of graffiti when I was younger. Skateboarder. I just always enjoyed spray painting, but so
Yeah.
like this project was really fun. It was, but because the small scale, I couldn't actually do like real graffiti. I was thinking about seeing if like there was, because I'm not that great with airbrush either, so I wouldn't be able to actually do graffiti with an airbrush. So I was thinking about, seeing if there was any graffiti artists around here, but being Japan, like there wasn't.
No, they're not into that.
No. So
Hmm. That's pretty
I
cool.
did the best I could with what I had.
No, it looks awesome, dude. And about the airbrush, I was gonna say, I feel the same way. So you've been at it longer than I have, but you did inspire me to get into airbrushing, and I've really enjoyed it. but I totally find that a lot of the stuff we do in modding is like, we use it as the tool to get to what we want.
Right.
So it's like I'm airbrushing because I want this nice, kind of blended color to come from the corner of this panel. We don't really airbrush to do the whole picture. That's never, well, some people that might be their goal. I always find that's never my goal. I'm never sitting down with my airbrush. I'm
Right.
sitting down with my project and I'm just grabbing the airbrush.
Like we, you and me, kind of use airbrush as like small details, not like a full picture. But like you get people like Blue Horse Studios,
Oh
like
man.
man, like their work is amazing. Like they'll do whole panels, like just all airbrush, and it just looks amazing. Like
Yeah.
I have my airbrush like compressor back there, but like I just haven't felt the need to get another airbrush.
I would love to be at that level someday though, for sure.
It would be nice, but like I don't know. Like that would
I just find myself sitting down,
very skillful.
you know, yeah, and like I don't know, I feel like I wish I would have got into that stuff a bit younger. Like jump
Right.
back 10 years and spend more time in art class and stuff like that.
But you're still pretty young. How like you're like in your 20s still? 30s?
No, I'm 33,
Yeah.
33 and I work full time. So my time with
Rough.
the projects is kind of there's a theory out there about how work fits the time you give it.
Right.
And I kind of like to follow that. So, for example, I wake up at 5 and then I head out to the garage and I work until 5:59. I have an alarm on my phone for 5:59. And I get as much done on a project as I can in that
Why not
59 minutes.
6?
Well, cuz by 6 I got to be going to work.
Wow.
So
Got
then I
that
go to
minute
work.
to grab your coffee and head out the door, huh?
Yeah, that minute is kind of actually like the 3 minutes of me finishing what I'm doing, turning off the lights, locking the door, things like that. So I find that's kind of how I operate. So I never really get to sit down with anything but my projects.
Right.
There's been a couple gaps where I've done a few models. Like I got this dude here, kind of painted him up.
Dang.
You know, it's just a mini, but I just wanted to paint something, and I found painting little models as kind of a when you take a break from a computer project, that's something I like to do to
Right.
stay creative, but not so heavy because they're only like this big, so it's not a big
Right.
deal. you know, but yeah.
Like the only mini
Did
I
you?
painted was the print head, the little Deathstroke I think I showed you.
Oh, I like that. Yeah,
It was
it's
so
fun though.
small. Yeah, it was so small. It was so hard to paint, but it was fun.
You get the hang of it. It helps to have good brushes. So I've got a bunch of small brushes here on my desk,
Oh
and the
yeah.
smallest one,
Like, let's see.
a zero, is about the smallest one I kind of use regularly.
I mean, you can see
Oh yeah, you're all set.
I got a bunch of like tiny one, like small ones, fat ones. I got them all.
I love
Good
that
brushes,
stuff.
yeah. Always like, yeah, Amazon Basics, man. Like they got pretty decent brushes. Like it was super cheap. It was like 120 brushes or something for like $10. It was ridiculous.
Oh, that's awesome. You know what's funny is I started out buying the expensive paintbrushes, and it took a while of me wrecking expensive paintbrushes to realize like I'm not that good of a painter.
Right.
I should buy the cheap brushes. And I
I look
started buying these cheaper synthetic brushes, and I like them a lot more.
like I'll use it and instead of clean it, I'll just throw it away. Like
Oh,
it's because
I
they're
hang
so
on to
cheap.
mine till the bitter end, but yeah,
Like these things are cheap. I mean, it's a pain to clean. So I just toss them.
yeah, and it's funny because it kind of fits into what I mentioned. So I usually give myself a short amount of time to try and do a bunch of stuff. So if I grab a paintbrush and it's no good, it's like So I try
Right.
and be set up. I try and be set up with what I'll need so that when I do have time to sit down, I just hammer out what I need to get done, carry on, rather than sit there and my airbrush is clogged or something.
We were talking
You know.
earlier, man. Like I don't know how you even find time to sleep. Yeah, you must be working on like 36-hour days somehow. I don't know, but you work full time. You got 5 kids, like, y- and you somehow manage to like find time to do all these projects. I don't get it.
Yeah, it's people ask me that all the time, and I kind of default to saying, busy is busy in a sense. Like, I won't lie, my girlfriend's incredible. She does probably twice as much as me, takes care of all the stuff I forget to do in a day. I'm super grateful for that. But I do kind of believe that, like, your busy is the same as my busy. Like, we are all just,
Nope.
if we choose, well, if you
I'm
choose to be,
retired, man.
if you
Like,
choose to be busy, if you choose to be busy, it's busy. I don't know. I probably spend less time on like television or any games than other people. I kind of leave those things as like a dessert.
right,
If things are all good, then maybe I'll watch an episode of The Mandalorian or something. But yeah, and my work schedule does help with that. So I don't work every single day. I work usually 6 or 8 days, and then you get 6 or 4 days off.
oh
So
nice.
in those days I get caught up on project stuff or house stuff with the kids, things like that. But
But
I should sleep a little more. It'd
but
probably be a good idea.
I know you're probably a lot like me though. Like when you get an idea in your head, you want it, like you want to do it, like you want to get it finished, like, and you don't want to stop until like the project's finished. So like it must be rough, like working and like all you're thinking about is like, oh, I need to do this, I need to do that, and like you have a great idea, but then you're working, you
You're
can't
stuck
do.
at work all day. Dude, that's so true. It's 100%. I'm sitting at work, so I run equipment at work. And if I'm in a crane and
Right.
I'm thinking to myself like, "Man, I want to go start this project." I like need to leave work. You know what I mean? Like it's
Yeah.
so hard on you to sit there.
It's like you're itching, right? Like you're
Yeah,
feeling. I know how it
like
is,
I'll
but
text I'll
luckily
text home being like, "Oh, I can't wait till I get home,
luckily
to
for me
work."
though, I'm kind of retired now, so like all I do all day is, well, now is work on this project, but before, it was just study, work, do work at home like graphic design stuff and maybe watch a little
That's
TV,
awesome.
but it gets boring. I'll tell you. Like I'll
I
probably go
I've been
back to
reading a
work
lot
soon.
about I've been reading a lot of like the D&D illustration magazines and stuff like that.
Hmm.
And they lean on graphic design, and I got my iPad here with I just started getting into Procreate,
Okay.
which I'm no graphic designer, but that is such a cool app and an avenue to kind of learn from. Like by me trying to practice on Procreate, I'm actually learning more about art. It's really cool.
All right. Like,
I find it's fun.
it was that's my degree. Like my bachelor's degree is in multimedia web design. Like,
Oh
but
wow.
it's like the new graphic design, but they changed the name of it to like web multimedia or something. I don't know. It's ridiculous, but it's still graphic design. But like I use a lot of Illustrator, but I never really got into CAD until like you were saying, it's modding is kind of like a medium to learn new things, and never really got into 3D modeling or CAD design until, I got a little bit more into modding and Soren with what is it, Nordic 3D? Like
Yep.
that dude helped me out. He's actually helped me out on Project Infinite. It was a collaboration. Like he did all the 3D design work for that build, and he helped me out a lot on a few pieces on the Killstreak build. But he's the one that really got me into working with Fusion. And so for this build to be able to do everything myself, like design the rebar, like all the pieces that I need for this build. Like, and there's like pieces that you don't really see, like for the front I showed you earlier, but like the rebar, like even like the little pieces that the rebar sit into, like
Yep.
there's like this curve. You see this curve. Like I had to match up that curve. Like it was pretty crazy, but like everything worked out perfect, and I
It's
was
neat.
able to.
You can really your progression is like tangible project to project from working with. someone who's really great at CAD, like Soren, teaching you to being able to do it yourself.
Right. Like it's
That's cool.
a lot of YouTube helps too. YouTube really
Oh,
helps.
YouTube's the best.
Yeah.
Honestly, aside from YouTube, I've actually been leaning super hard on Skillshare.
Skillshare.
For anybody listening, my podcast isn't sponsored or anything, but Skillshare is like a YouTube, but to post a content like a video on YouTube or a lesson, they're all lessons. You are actually vetted by the platform. So, like for you to post an illustration class on Skillshare, you actually have to have some kind of Illustrator credentials, and it has to
Mm,
be a certain video and audio quality, which is actually kind of nice because then I love YouTube. I YouTube all day. But like sometimes you watch the same thing being said by 10 different people on YouTube.
right.
And I
And
find on
it's different
Skillshare
in different things. Like not everybody's
or that, yeah. Like on podcasting, man, I went right down the rabbit hole of what to do and what not to do. And then I ended up really confused and I just made some notes on my iPad about what I thought would be cool instead because YouTube confused me. But
I think
if you ever
I
get
think
bored on YouTube,
podcasts I
go ahead,
think
sorry.
podcasts no, you're good. I think podcasts is basically just a recorded conversation.
Yeah.
Like that's it, man. Just like a recorded phone call. That's what it should be.
Well, and that's what's so cool about the platform is we can just chat, but it also captures, a bit of a direction. We're talking about your projects, my projects,
Right.
stuff that pertains to modding, which is kind of, if anyone's listening, I'm hoping they're picking up on how much is behind the scenes on this hobby and how it can kind of also like you've, I feel like in a couple of your projects, you've done a really kind of close knit job of promoting the brand, or there's certain components that are sent to you under sponsorship. You take those parts really seriously in your mods. So like, I won't say it, but the part that this build you're doing now is promoting, your build completely reflects the part that the brand wanted you to promote, which is really cool. And I don't think everybody really realizes how how unique modding is in the sense of its marketing,
Right.
prowess, I guess. We have
I can like
a
I can
you know
you notice this part like you probably because like unfortunately I can't like disclose
no,
like the
that's okay.
hardware,
I'm just
but
saying,
you recognize like that. Like
yeah,
they wanted me to add the design element from the hardware into the case design.
exactly,
So
exactly. And we we either know how or find how to do that, and it's kind of a cool job that way. um I was
hope,
wondering, so sorry, go ahead.
hopefully they'll love the build as much as I do.
Oh, dude, they'll be nuts if they don't. That thing looks awesome from here. I can't wait to see it completed.
Me
We
either.
are running into our like kind of 1 hour
Right.
uh time stop. So I was going to ask though, like, do you have on the horizon? I know you kind of took a break from modding. You know, life caught up. That happens to everybody. But now that you've jumped back in with like such a kind of a personal project, like it's reflective of your own space, which is pretty cool. Beyond this, do you think you have a dream project on the horizon? It
Mm,
doesn't have to be like this week, like in life, anytime.
dream project would probably be maybe what we were talking about, taking my skills from Japanese carpentry and actually do a PC build
Yeah.
like completely from scratch with those with the knowledge that I've picked up being a Japanese carpenter here. Like maybe I think that would probably be my ultimate dream project, but in reality, I think my dream project would be the next project. Like,
There you go.
if there, let there be a next project
Yeah,
because
that's a good way to be.
I wasn't even expecting like this one. But when they reached out and told me like the theme was graffiti and like I was like I couldn't say no. Like I wanted
Yeah.
to at first. I was just like, I'm just I sold my 3D printers. Like I sold like most of my stuff and I just kind of got out of it. And I was thinking like, maybe I shouldn't. But then they told me like they want to promote the release of this new hardware, and the theme is graffiti. I was like, I can't say no to that. Because that's always kind of been my
So
style.
this
And
project brought you all the way back in.
yeah, it was fun. It was a lot of
That's
fun.
awesome, dude. And from my perspective, I couldn't have picked a better modder like in their shoes than you to do this project for them.
And
You
it's
know what I
crazy
mean?
too
Like,
because like they're in Tokyo, ASRock, Japan, and I know 3 or 4 modders that are like right there around like Tokyo. Like, and I was just honored that they picked me all the way in Fukushima to do this, rather than like ask one of those people in Tokyo.
yeah.
So
No, you got the chops, man.
maybe it's
That's
because I'm an American in Japan. I just have a different style than the Japanese people do. I don't know, but
oh, oh, definitely. And I actually think when you're talking about your dream project, for you to take Japanese carpentry and apply it to, a scratch build as an American, but as an actual carpenter, like you worked in the trade for years, I think your build would definitely stand apart from the other ones that have been done in that style, just because no matter what you do, your style shines through, even if it's similar to me and you could build the same thing, and our styles would shine through.
right.
You know
Give
what
us
I
the
mean?
same case, the same theme, and we'll give
Yeah,
you 2 different builds, like completely.
yeah, exactly. So I think that if you ever did take up the idea of that build, I think it would turn out cool, even if some similar stuff has been done before.
It would have
You
my
know,
style to it. Like I'd probably definitely maybe do some epoxy resin woodwork in there. I don't
oh,
know. Like
cool. Do you do
yeah.
that stuff? I've never tried it.
Oh, we're building tables now. Like cause
Oh,
I was telling my former my boss about it, and I was showing him some YouTube, and like he purchased all the epoxy and everything, and we've been doing some epoxy wood tables, and
nice,
we
dude.
actually have like this black wood. I can't think of the name of it right now, but it's got a lot of rotted areas in it and like cracks and stuff, and like we filled that up with epoxy and like made some like handles for our hammers, and looks
Oh,
amazing. Like when it's polished up, the wood is actually just a glossy black, but then it has like a
oh,
turquoise
that's so sick.
epoxy running through it. It is nice.
That's so sick. I got to see a picture of that. I love that stuff.
Right. I don't have it here. I'll send you a picture though
Yeah,
whenever
for
I think
sure,
about
dude.
it next time I'm because he's like an hour and a half away, but
Yeah, well,
maybe
that's
an
cool.
hour
That would
away,
be
but
cool to see. Like
it's pretty
the
awesome.
a black epoxy kind of computer case desk.
Right.
Who knows?
Right. I was,
That'd be cool.
thinking about, doing some elements with epoxy and wood. I know what is it? Ning how do you Win? Ingwin or however you say their
Inwin?
not in, it wasn't in an Inwin case, but uh it was these 2 guys and they did an Inwin case. They did a wood and epoxy kind of overlay over the case. It was just
Oh,
they just took wood and epoxy and like made 2 slabs with like a 45-degree cut so it would like meet up. And it was just a
right.
square case that they just put that on top of, and it looked really good. It was kind
Hmm.
of like this bluish turquoise with the wood, like kind of like a river table
Yeah,
with the epoxy in the
nice.
middle. It looked nice.
I missed it, but I'll look it up.
Yeah, I'll
Yeah.
have to send you a link when I find it. But so what about
Yeah,
you?
dude.
Any dream projects?
Oh man, a dream project for me. You know, actually this castle was kind of on my wish list. So I'm pretty excited that I'm getting a chance to do it because I watched Nerdforge do, a couple similar type of dioramas, and I was trying to find a way to do that to a computer case like that somebody would. So most of my builds are client builds.
Right.
So I was trying to pitch the idea to somebody along the line and nobody was going for it. And then I got, lightning struck and I got offered a chance to do an Elden Ring themed build for an event. And it was like, oh, Elden Ring has castles. Yeah, I'll do that.
Did you see
So
Blue
I didn't
Horse?
really.
Studios Elden Ring build? That
I
thing was
did.
amazing.
I told them I want to throw mine in the dumpster now.
Like I saw, like it was weird because like I saw you working on blocks, and then I
Yeah.
saw on Facebook the Blue Horse Studio posted their, all their posts with at PAX with their
Yeah.
Elden Ring build. And I'm like, did Derek like collab with Blue Horse? Like, what's up? Like, 'cause
No, it's just funny timing. Yeah, he did that directly for Bandai, which is pretty
wow,
cool,
dang.
and Intel. But yeah, so his was super nice. But I was working on, so mine is a castle with a tower beside it,
Hmm.
and then I was working on the tower as most of the bricks. But I've been working on that for like 2 weeks, and then he posted his, and I texted him. I was like, I feel like throwing mine in the dumpster. Like that is so hard to even compare to. I'm embarrassed.
Like I was looking at it and I was like, where's even the PC at? Like, how is this even a PC?
Yeah, he's really good at hiding the computers, like tucking them away, keeping them safe, and then just having this really cool model on top. It's awesome.
Dude's crazy, yo.
That's that's Ron Christensen. Yeah, he's
Right.
such a nice dude too. If you've
There's a,
talked to him, oh,
I,
he's a total gem, and he's another guy like you that if you have a question, he'll teach you. You know, it's really nice. I've actually asked him a bunch about this stuff, like even about this Elden Ring build before I knew he was doing an Elden Ring build. I was asking him questions, and he was kind of teaching me a thing or two, which was really nice.
he's an amazing artist. Like just
Yeah,
beyond PC building and modding, like that he has skill. Like
yeah,
it's like he was like you're born with that kind of skill. Like that just I I don't know, man. Like I don't know
it's
about you,
true.
but like his airbrushing and like just painting in general, like just amazing. I love seeing his builds.
Yeah, and that's another like super interesting kind of angle for modding is just how in depth you could go as an artist, right?
Right.
It's crazy to think of like the level. Like he could be painting paintings for a
Right.
living, but he's just choosing to direct it at computers because maybe he likes video games as well. You know?
Right. Like it's ridiculous,
Yeah,
dude. But maybe we'll get up there a little bit in our,
yeah. We should.
art.
I've been mean. I've been wanting to go to like a airbrush class or something. Actually, learn something.
Right. I mean, it's airbrush is unless you got a really good brush, it's very difficult. Like, I had some
Yeah.
cheap airbrushes before and they would just spatter and like I just couldn't get them to spray right. But then I got a few good airbrushes and it was like night and day. But one of the challenges in Japan, they don't sell airbrush paint,
Oh, really?
right? And like trying to, like, it's ridiculous, and I can't even get it shipped from the States either. It's
So what do you do? Just water down your paints?
well, I have, let's see, like some Anglers paints and stuff like that, and like I'll just water it down, um, and or I got lacquer thinner to like dilute it,
Oh, okay.
but
Yeah.
it's just because it's not a
That's still a
water-based paint,
challenge.
it's a challenge to clean the airbrush afterwards.
Yeah.
It's a pain in the
And
ass.
and you're a little bit limited. Like I can, I guess I'm lucky to be in North America. I can pick any color or shade of any color under the sun, and there's an
You can
airbrush
just
version.
you can just go down the street and probably pick it up at the
Yeah.
store.
Yeah. Well, I am a bit far north from any airbrush stores, but the place I order from, it's called Maple Airbrush Supplies. Maple because we're in Canada.
Right, right.
It ships it overnight, so I'm pretty lucky.
Nice.
Yeah, they're awesome too. Actually, I went there the last time I was in there, the city, and they laid out a bunch of airbrushes. We went over them. They took them apart, showed me which ones suck to clean, which ones are easy, things like that. And I got to
Wow.
hit them up again because my compressor died
What?
going into this castle. I was like, okay, airbrush, we're gonna get busy on this thing. We got a lot of airbrushing to do. And I go to turn on my airbrush and or the compressor, and it just didn't do anything at all, like completely dead. So
Have
then
you
you look it
ever
up, and it's totally dead.
have you ever tried like these little compressors?
So that's the compressor that goes in the bottom of the airbrush?
Right.
Yeah, no, no, I haven't.
So this one like has I don't know if you can hear it, but it
Yeah.
has like three different levels. But these are nice for just doing like little touch ups or like just small stuff because you don't have to like drag out the big. Well, it's not very big, but you don't have to pull out the compressor with the hose. Like you can like
Yeah.
kind of like hold on to this and the airbrush and kind of do your thing. But
Yeah, I might try one of those because I've kind of defaulted to using like my shop's compressor. So
oh no.
I have one gun that you can set the trigger.
hmm
So I turn that super low and then turn on the air, and then it's just under what would be full blast from an airbrush compressor. And I'm not very refined. I'm only using it for the odd job right now.
So
But
yeah, definitely check out those little compressors though. They're very convenient for. Yeah, I got them because like when we doing carpentry, actually,
right.
like sometimes you scratch something, like you're putting up door framing or something and you scratch somewhere. I actually have the airbrush with that little tank and be able to do
Oh,
my own touch-ups.
that's smart.
So
That's cool. Okay, well, I'm going to wrap it up soon if that's cool. But
that's
was there
fine.
anything else you wanted to add on on our chat or PC modding in general?
Just enjoy it, have fun. Like,
Yeah.
yeah, don't worry about what everybody else likes. Do what you like.
No, yeah, dude. Your project you're sitting beside is a good example because you got back into it because that's a project you like and you're enjoying it, right? And
Right.
that's the way it's supposed to be. Like,
Right.
yes, there's a job to do, but you have to enjoy it, or else you actually. I myself, if I don't really even like really dig the project, it's not going to be that good.
Right.
That's been my experience, anyways. You know, I
No,
think
and you can
fun is like,
definitely, yeah, I think you can definitely tell like the projects you're not into to the projects that
yeah,
you're really into.
yeah.
So,
Like if you didn't love a project, you wouldn't take time to turn a piece of rebar sticking out of the side of it into a pen. You
right.
know that, but
That
that's a
was,
detail that's going to stand out forever.
that's like one of my favorite is like design features to
Exactly.
be honest.
That's awesome. Okay,
But
so for guys listening, sorry,
yeah,
go
definitely
ahead.
be on the lookout though. Next month, I'll be posting like the actual final photos like with all the hardware installed. So, well,
Perfect.
whenever ASRock tells me I can release them, I will release them. Anyway,
Yeah, all good. Perfect. So I'm Derek with Rhoads Pc talking to TekRedMods on the PC Modding and Making podcast. When this project comes out, Devin, what are your socials? Where should people look for you?
TekRedMods.
Yeah.
That's all of my socials.
Across the
TekRedMods.
board,
Yep.
TekRedMods. Yeah, I'm the same way actually. Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, TikTok now. I'm not that great at dancing. It's all Rhoads PC on my end. We're trying.
But
But
yeah,
awesome. Okay. Well,
I'll
thanks,
definitely
man.
be keeping in touch and send you updates on it though.
Awesome. Thanks, man. Really appreciate having you.
I appreciate you inviting me on. It's been fun.
Yeah. You're my first interview, and it was actually super dope.
It was
So
just
thank you.
nice to catch up again because we haven't talked in well over a year, I think.
It's true. I missed you, man. I did.
Yeah, man. I missed everybody. But I was creeping socials, I wasn't really active on there, but I was like creeping, like seeing what everybody was up to, like seeing what they're working on.
Yeah, making sure everyone's still alive,
Yeah.
still kicking. If you enjoyed this podcast, please consider subscribing. You don't have to, but if you want to, it'd be awesome. I'm hoping to have some of the godfathers of PC modding join me on future episodes. I've sent out a few emails, and if they answer back, I'll be sure to bring them in and we can talk about where PC modding started. Like before myself or Devin might have even been into it. What were those guys doing to their computers back then? Awesome. Thank you and have fun.